Cool. Hi, what's
Hi.
up? Long time.
Yeah, not much. Not much has changed.
I mean, my beard's back.
Mm.
So,
Yes.
yeah. So,
Hmm.
hey guys, uh, why we're here today is because one of us, who is definitely not me, has completed a book. And the book is 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson. And I know I'm saying it as confident as I've read it, but I haven't. So, first, let's just know from Atish why he even bothered to read the book. What attracted him towards the book? Was it the author? Was it someone's advice, or was it both?
Okay. Okay. So yeah, 12 Rules of Life is written by Jordan Peterson. Right? Uh, like if anyone listening to this podcast has clicked on this particular video, is mostly because of the title itself, or maybe you're slightly interested in knowing who is Dr. Peterson, or you've already watched a lot of short 8 minute, 9 minute clips, or maybe you're a enthusiast and watched all of his podcasts.
Hmm.
For people who have never even heard about him, probably came here for a book review. Basically, Jordan Peterson is a clinical psychologist. Okay. But in 2017, 2018, he shot to YouTube fame because he was uploading a lot of his college lectures online because he felt, you know, teaching just 50 students per year doesn't make sense for him. And he wanted the society to grow instead of
Hmm.
just a select few, right?
Hmm.
So that was one of his explanation about why he started uh, uploading all his lectures onto YouTube, right?
Hmm.
But what happened at the same time was, like, as soon as his YouTube career took off, he didn't plan to make it a career. He just uploaded for the sake of it. uh, he got caught in one of these controversies where Canada. So Dr. Jordan Peterson is from Canada, where there was a bill being passed, right? Uh, it basically said anyone who uses wrong pronouns for gender identity and all these issues, we can face, judicial punishments, right? Now this did not sit well with JP because he's a pro free speech guy, right?
Hmm.
And he wanted individuals to make the decision whether they wanted to utter certain words or not,
Hmm.
right? Of course there are words which people don't use because it's had such cultural impacts, like the N word, right?
Yeah.
uh, Canada, in fact, America, like it's a taboo to use that word at all. And in
Hmm.
India, I know a lot of people who just throw around those words. Even we are guilty of that, right? But you go to the West, and that word is forbidden. Like you cannot use it in public just for the sake of it. And that's one of his stand. Like he stood on that. See, the society as a collective should make a decision whether they want to use certain words or not. Why
Hmm.
is the judiciary system imposing on society is was one of his core questions.
Hmm.
This invited a lot of hate, and that's one of the reasons what brought him into my limelight. Right,
Okay.
I was in a phase where I wanted to unlearn certain things what was taught in school, because I knew at least the part of history which my school teaches is not the complete truth, right? So I understood like a lot of left leaning thoughts were being put into us, and we didn't even know. And I had a lot of free time, so I wanted to know what does the other side have to offer for me, right?
Hmm.
I've been listening to only this good stuff. Mahatma
Hmm.
Gandhi is great. Nehru was a freedom fighter, but
Let's
like he
not
chose
get there.
violence. Yeah. So basically, I wanted to learn from the other side as well because we've been branding them as fascist,
Hmm.
hardcore rightists, sangis, and all these things. I wanted to understand if this is a global phenomenon or am I just living in a part of world where everything is polarized. So that's what introduced me to Jordan Peterson, but specifically one clip where he says, if you want to grow as a person,
Hmm.
you need to listen to what other person has to say, even if you know he's dumb.
Hmm.
Listen to him, try
Hmm.
to understand what he's trying to say, or at least help him articulate whatever stupid stuff he wants to say.
Hmm.
That helps you understand what is his position, the life that he is leading. It helps you give perspective,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, and then I discovered like he has written 2-3 books, out of which the most popular was 12 Rules of Life. Uh, I binge watched his videos for an entire year, and then I made a call. I was like, cool, I have to read this guy's book because video lectures I cannot watch forever. Uh, and the book is actually good, actually good.
Okay.
This is my introduction to Peterson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So I just had to quickly point out a few things here. One is that I know it's a challenge for a lot of people to unlearn stuff and then learn new things because who wants to, right? But it was very easy for me because I didn't learn jack shit in school, right? So everything I learned after school is the only thing I learned. So yeah, okay. Jokes aside, I want to make probably two statements here, and you can just. And the second statement is what I want you to confirm upon if you think that's true, right? So my first statement is that, as you said, Jordan Peterson. The thing is, the introduction that you gave about Jordan Peterson doesn't really say much about the way he thinks, right? Because that's the thing that's attracted both of us the most about him.
Right?
So
I wanted to tell the audience how I was introduced to Jordan Peterson instead of his personality.
So cool. So I'll just like quickly brush upon the fact that that man has thought on his own for so long. He's an old guy now, like probably 50 plus, right? He's thought on his own for so long that even like a small matter, right, about like men's rights, women's right, the way he approaches such topics is what boggles my mind, because I've never even thought of something being approached in that way, right? And the fact that the thing that attracts me the most about him in every video is his approach the most, right? Because there's a lot of like we spoke about debate the other day, that like everyone's just talking about whatever they believe in, right? But the methodical, surgical, yet very open-minded approach that he's got, where and we have to accept the fact that it's very, very scientific, because he's a clinical psychologist, right? So it's very scientific. And the thing is, no matter what the debate is about, even if two people or two sides are talking about two different things, and he walks into the room and talks about his perspective in the most, of course, it's going to be the most scientific, and you probably need a dictionary as well alongside. Is the result of that entire speech of his, between that debate, is going to be both of those sides agreeing with him. Because the fact is that when you talk scientifically and when you talk about facts, this you can't debate against a person, right? And the approach that he takes is very different from whoever I've seen. People are either for or against a topic, but he breaks the topic down into like 2-3 different things and then talks about those things instead of just being for or against, because he understands psychology, and that's why he gets into most of our heads. So that was my first point, and I hope that I was right about him, if you can confirm. The second thing is that because we're talking about this book, would I be right to assume that if you're an average individual, and I mean average IQ, right? Let's just say like a normal individual, and you went through this book and you adhered by it, if you actually agreed with Jordan Peterson, that is, would you be happy in life if you adhered by those rules? Not adhered, but if you understood,
if you applied certain
if you applied certain rules, because like I'm pretty sure you won't remember all the 12 rules right now if I asked you to, right? But if you remember the important ones, because I'm pretty sure some people find some of them important. So if you find like 5 of them important, are those the rules that are going to change your life? Are some of the rules in the 12 rules of life-changing rules?
Okay. So first of all, 12 rules of life, what he has mentioned in the title, right? So they are not rigid 12 rules of life. It's not
Hmm.
like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way
Hmm.
till
Hmm.
12.
Yeah, yeah.
So each of those rules have subsets of certain other uh, rules, like
Hmm.
smaller chunks of rules.
Yeah.
So you might find Jordan Peterson talking about this in multiple videos where he says, if you're afraid of something, break
Hmm.
down the task, like make it as
Yeah.
tiny as possible so that you're not afraid to do that tiny step.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next chunk. Then you go so that
Hmm.
you're over the time, you finish the entire task instead of not
Yeah.
even. So if you instead
Bothering.
of taking one full task at the time,
Yeah.
you'll
Yeah.
be afraid. So if you do smaller chunks of it, you'll reach there faster at least, right?
Hmm.
So that is the approach he takes in 12 Rules of Life, the book itself, right? First 3, 4, 5 pages is one subset of a particular rule, and then
Hmm.
he goes to another deeper level. He uh, so see, if happiness is completely subjective, right? What do
Okay.
you want to be happy about,
Hmm.
right? So Jordan Peterson's book will help you be happy with. Uh, it'll help you be content, not particularly happy, because
Okay.
happy is subjective. It'll
Okay.
help you be content. It will help you understand who you are as a person,
Hmm.
right? And this is not something like those Instagram influencers telling you, "Oh, be yourself." You should be content with yourself. Not that kind of bullshit. Okay. In the book, what I understood was specifically there's one part where he says you need to accept the monster inside you. Like
Okay.
everybody knows, like you have deep dark secrets, and if you tell it to the society, you'll be like sidelined. You'll be an outcast, right?
Hmm.
But he says it's important that you acknowledge that that side of you also exists, because
Hmm.
without that, your current self also wouldn't exist,
Yeah.
right? So you'll be self-content after you read the entire book. You will
Okay.
understand why you are a human and why certain behaviors of yours is actually justified, and you don't have to be very harsh about certain things that you do in life,
Okay.
right? So if you feel that people take advantage of you helping them, right? I'm one of that person. I feel like whenever I help someone, I
Hmm.
automatically assume that this person might not return the favor, or he might ruin my life, right? So there is a specific chapter where he talks about why you should help people and when you should rethink whether to help or not,
Okay.
right? So that is his way of approach. He talks about why you should do certain things and when you should start thinking whether you should stop doing certain things. He doesn't say stop it right there. No,
All
he
right.
lets you take the book is mainly like a side co-pilot kind of a book, right? You are the
Hmm.
pilot. There's just a manual. If you want to read it, you can read it.
Hmm.
If not, also you can still ride a bike, dude. You can self-learn, right?
Hmm.
But that book helps you give directions to certain really hard questions that you have about life, like why should I do certain things?
Is
Why should I believe in God if like everything is dependent on karma? Or like why is it so contradictory? If I follow karma, then I don't have to follow God, right?
hmm.
And then if I follow God, I don't have to do my karma because eventually I'm going to go to heaven. So he talks about why certain things, certain concepts of religion also plays a crucial uh, part in your life, in your day-to-day life. So these are
Okay.
certain things that he talks about, but mainly the book helps you be content with your life. That's it.
Does it help you be more productive?
Be more productive. Absolutely. Uh, Depends on what you want to be productive about also.
No, in general.
Because in general, if you think about day-to-day activities, like very mundane activities, I've known people who find it difficult to even just okay, you'll find this very funny, but I know a lot of people who don't make their beds. Like as soon as you get up, make your
Hmm.
bed proper, right? So this is something I'd followed even before I was introduced to Jordan Peterson. Like I was raised like that. Keep
Yeah.
the house neat. At least keep your bed neat, right?
Hmm.
But when I read his story about why exactly you need to do that and practice that, it made more sense because it plays into your psychology.
Hmm.
Your rest of the day depends on what your first actions for that day after you wake up is going to be like. So yeah, it will help you be productive by being a book that helps you clean up your brain. Like
All right.
like wiping, there's like a lot of dust on your brain and like it just wipes certain things and then you can be productive. So it's like a precursor to being productive.
Okay.
That's how it
And
is.
what about, I mean, I'm included in this group where I'm pretty sure there's a big majority of people here who think that they're not doing enough in life. Will this book help them?
Or not doing enough in life.
Yeah, it productively and
Right.
creating connections or believing in something.
Okay. So again, there's another chapter where he talks about you need to compare yourself with yourself who was yesterday. Like today, are you doing any better than what you were doing yesterday? Instead of comparing yourself with another person, right? Because so he says, okay, fine. Let's take you and me as an example, right? So I might be earning like 30 grand a month, and you're still trying to figure out, trying to do your masters, right? But I also wanted to do masters, and like probably you wanted to take up a job before you did masters, right? So now I cannot really compare myself with you because you have other set of reasons that has brought you to this point in life. I have certain other criteria in my life that has brought. So you cannot compare two different individuals and say like, dude, I'm earning more than Akshay, and Akshay is going to do masters in a much better country than I am going to do, right? So that's not a valid comparison. So if I would say, okay, Atish, last year in 2019, I was earning 25 grand. This year I'm earning 33 grand. So I'm doing much better. 6 grand. I mean, almost 9 grand more than last year. That's being productive. You're progressing in life. Of course, the increment might be insignificant for you, but you need to stop being too harsh on yourself, is what he specifically talks about. You compare yourself with what you were yesterday so that you're less harsh on yourself, is what he talks about. So of course, if you're feeling low, if you think that you're not doing enough in your life, you should definitely read this book. Because I myself thought I was doing a few things, like I was not living up to certain expectations that were set on me. And when I read the book, it gave me much clarity on an individual level, not as a part of society, as like myself. What is Atish doing in life? Does it actually make sense? And then when I read the book, I was like, okay, most of the things I'm doing right. It's just that I was lost in some key areas.
Okay.
So that's how it is.
Okay. And if you had one important thing that you learned from this book, just one, okay, the most important thing that you learned from this book, it can be any one of the rules, any one of the subsets. What was the most important thing that you, like Jordan Peterson's interviews, you didn't realize that that's how it is, what gave you the most clarity about stuff?
On a personal level, I thought the place where he talks about helping others and getting help from others, right? He basically says, look, if someone is asking you help, right? If he's basically calling you out and he's saying like, Atish, I need help, you should help him. Like you should be in a position to say yes, okay. But then before you say yes, you need to also understand that not everybody who seeks help actually wants help. They probably want to hold you down or like anchor you down to that one particular place. And that really hit home because I've been in certain situations where people ask me help and like I'm not going any further. Neither is the person whom I'm helping is going any forward, right? And the book became very personal after I read that entire sentence. So that was really good. There are plenty of other statements which he makes, which will make it very personal to a lot of people from different walks of life. If you would ask me who should, like what age group should actually read this, I think anywhere between 22 to 27. That will be the ideal age you should be reading this book.
I'm assuming because before 22, you don't have enough experience to relate with the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like before 23, I don't think so. You have enough experience to understand, to be relatable to the book. And after 27, you've probably experienced everything and you have enough experience to actually understand all these rules by yourself.
Do you think it's 23 because you're 23 right now?
No, like I've seen his YouTube comments. I've seen other, individuals like me or younger than me, older than me, talk about the book, talk about Jordan Peterson himself, the lectures that he gives. Uh, the most people who have benefited from this are from that age category, like between 22, 27.
Because I'm assuming this we are currently in it, but this is the age gap where there is nothing set for any individual. Everything's everywhere, and people are just trying to make a life for themselves.
You have this entire faction which tells you, dude, you're young, you take risk, no problem. Because like later on you will get said, man, now you're too young, you can take risk, like nothing is holding you back. And then there is another faction, mostly your family, which says, dude, like now be stable, earn a lot,
settle
and
down.
Settle in life. Right. And then there's a part of yourself which says, dude, fuck this. I'm gonna go on a bike ride all the way till Ladakh, clear my mind and come back. Now, who do you listen to? Right?
Who do you listen to?
So that's an interesting thing. And if you want the answer for this, you should definitely read the book. See, if I tell it on this video, no, if I tell you the answer on this video, it will sound too cliche.
Is there an answer?
There is an answer.
It doesn't have to be it shouldn't be an answer where it's an answer for everyone. Okay, it should be a very particular answer.
Right. So I was talking to you about sub rules, like where rules are not very rigid. There are other rules that you need to follow under each rule, right? So whatever Peterson talks about in this entire book is all gray areas. So a person's life is not just black and white, like every time ones and zeros. It's not like that. It's like most people think it is ones and zeros because we are living in digital age where we either like things or we dislike things, or we either share things or we don't share things, right? It's all yes or no, ones and zeros. But Peterson's approach is like he puts the responsibility on the individual and not on a collective group. Right? So like on a group. So if you say, oh, all my cousins are doing, MBBS, so even I'll do MBBS. No, Peterson says, don't do it. I mean, of course, keep the option available, but don't do it. You're a different person. You're not the same person as your cousins. Don't do it. Analyze yourself, see if you're actually up to the challenge, and then decide for yourself. So that's pretty much sort of the answer for like the previous question. But there's like 2 or 3 other things that he talks about for you to actually understand which faction of society should you be listening to, or should you listen to only yourself, or is there a gray area for that?
And that will happen only if I read the whole book and not just one part of it.
Whole book, entire book. You need to read it. You'll have a lot of clarity.
Cool, that's a challenge.
And I've seen people who just read, first 2-3 chapters, and then they're like, "Oh, Jordan Peterson is very sexist because he's only talking about men." But like, aren't you supposed to have better men in society to save women? I mean, what?
That's a different conversation.
Yeah. Don't read the book just because he's a controversial figure. Don't read the book just because he's a right-leaning person. I don't think so. He's right-leaning. He's just a realist who happened to be having all the qualities of a right-wing person. Dude, like in that sense, I am right now right-wing. Maybe 2-3 years from now, when I go broke, I'll become left-wing because I don't have money. The only people who can get me money is a left-wing party or like communists, I guess, who can represent me. So that's the point. Left ideology, right ideology, nothing works in your life. You need to be realist. You need to understand what is going on in your life today and like try to solve those problems. And how you're going to do it, that is up to you. Which ideology you want to follow, that is up to you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Have we said enough about the book? We want to cover any
Yeah.
other topic?
No, I'm pretty much done. I think
Yeah.
rest of the things we should leave it up to the viewers. They
Yeah.
actually want to read the book. If you still, like if you're not a kind of a person who does who enjoys reading books, you should. I think one of his videos is like 2 to 3 hours long, which he discusses the entire book in that one video.
Oh, that's for me.
People can watch that also.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah,
Cool.
you can
Cool,
watch
cool.
the video instead.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if you ever watch this video, which is a long shot, and then if you decide to read that book, which is an even longer shot, and if you feel like commenting on this video after reading the book, which is a home run, then please do. And otherwise, see you in the next video.